I'm going to call this meeting to order, and we have the minutes from our June 8th meeting.
I move that we approve the minutes from our June 8th meeting.
I'll second that.
Okay, any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All right. Then, moving on, bills for payment. We have warrant 26. We have the payroll, 26P. We have the cemetery fund, number 9, and the recreation board, number 10.
I move we approve the payment warrant 26P, cemetery fund number 9, rec board number 10.
I'll second that.
Okay, any discussion? Okay, under warrant 26, the grand total is $26,635.91. And some of the payments were to Green Mountain Power, to Renaud for gravel and stone. The highway department had some tires, tool purchases, parts and supplies. Our monthly payment to Rescue Inc. There was a chloride purchase for the roads. Health insurance, fuel, payroll transfers. A.S. Clark did some culvert work up on Upper Dummerston Road. So, any more discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. Is there anyone in the public who would like to speak right now? Okay. Our road foreman's report. I'm going to be channeling Lee tonight since he's not here. And let's see, update on the Tucker Reed Bridge. He was expecting the engineer, what's his name?
Oh, Ron Bell.
Ron Bell. Was going to be sending some drawings for the bridge within the next few days. And that's all. I guess I'm getting a little interference. I guess that's all the channeling I can do for Lee. But we should expect Ron Bell to give us some information soon. Unless anyone else has any other, a clearer connection, okay. Well, we opened paving bids at our last meeting, and so Basin Brothers came in at $63.25 per ton. Lane Construction came in at $61.94. Springfield Paving came in at $59.90, and Vermont Roadworks came in at $65.89.
So I did visit with Lee and
Yeah.
discuss some of this, and I'm gonna move that we award the bid to Springfield Paving at $59.90, and I believe it was 1,100 tons.
I'll second that.
Okay, any discussion?
So Steve, can you say anything about your conversation with Lee?
Oh, we just talked with Lee, and and maybe Wayne could even give us some input, but I think Springfield had paid for us other years, had done several sections of road. We did have a couple issues with last year, so he felt that in our discussions that Springfield would be the best.
Mhm.
And they are the low bidder too, so.
What was Vermont Roadworks?
65.69.
And I take
Oh,
it, Steve,
65.89.
someone else did the paving last year, is that correct?
Right, yeah.
Yep, thank you.
Springfield used to pave occasionally, Wayne,
They did a lot for us.
and had done a pretty good job on all the sections, all the different roads, Lee said, so. He was pretty comfortable and was hoping we'd lean that way.
Thank you.
So we have $95,000 that was approved at town meeting. And Lee's plan is to use most of that, but then save some, and they're going to try out filling in cracks.
We talked about that.
Yeah, so. Okay, so a motion's been made, it's been seconded to award the paving bid to Springfield Paving. Any more discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, the ayes have it, and the bid is awarded to Springfield Paving. Would you let them know? Or would you let Lee know that you can let them know?
Yep.
Okay. Let's see, we have correspondence for information. Let's see, so stream alteration permit for East-West Road that's going to, requesting removing an old dam that's not in service anymore. And a letter from the Vermont Agency of Natural Resources regarding Renaud Gravel Pit proposed two-lot subdivision. Anything you want to discuss further about those? No? Okay, we have correspondence for discussion. There was an email from Terry Chapman. Do you want to, since you're here, do you want to?
Well, after watching a few of these meetings, there was a lot of questions raised, but no answers. So I figured I would ask the board, considering the 501c3 wouldn't come in for the fire department in time, of how the process went in terms of, does the town have to have the building in order to get the loan and deed it back, or how much would it cost the town? So that was why I asked the question.
Okay, so my understanding, and we've got the town clerk and treasurer and 4 other select board members here, and someone from the fire department here. We just got a letter from the town attorney, Bob Fisher, saying that individuals could contribute to the center station project through the town and earmark it for the station, and they would be able to get a tax deduction for that. So we're going to have our special town meeting on whether we'll decide the fire department's petition for funds, the station, whether we do that by Australian ballot or just a regular town meeting. That's going to be next week. And then I think after that, we're going to start looking into loans, what loans would be, how they'd be structured, and then I think we'll start to get some answers then.
Good.
But does anyone have any other thoughts or?
Well, I hope it doesn't come to that, because I hope we, raise the funds. Whether it's directly to the town or, I continue to think the better approach is they get their 501c3. It's just cleaner to contribute directly to the fire department. It just, doesn't raise any questions on behalf of prospective donors. And I appreciate these questions, Terry. I think maybe to some extent we're getting a little bit ahead of ourselves. One thing that occurred to me is that, if the money is going to be used for the fire department, is there any reason why the fire department can't take out a mortgage, or pledge the building and the land, if you will, as collateral for this loan? I don't know. I guess that would be up to a lender. But again, my hope continues to be we raise the money privately and don't have to go to the taxpayers. And it's anybody's guess, of course, as to how these votes are going to come out. I don't mean so much the first one, but the second one in August.
Yeah, and I guess to follow up with Joe a little bit is, if we do accept donations and the vote is negative, then we would end up, as I understand it, I think, having to return the donations. Is that how you read it? Yeah.
But I think he was clear, and we could actually start taking money. We just wouldn't write a check to the fire department until the vote was done. And if it went no, then the money goes back.
Yeah.
We wouldn't want to write them a check prior to the vote on that. But
The way I see it, and I'm just thinking as I'm sitting here, if people are making contributions through the town, then it goes to the fire department whether or not, regardless of the vote.
I thought his letter said it couldn't go into their
Right.
operational budget, it had to, it could only, because we're taking the donations for a
But
building
if
project.
we're going to, if there's gonna be a fundraising, if the town, if the request to raise the funds through a loan through the town or fails, then I would think they'd go for raising it privately, and so these funds could go, if that's what they want.
That's how I interpreted
Yeah,
it,
they- Then these funds can, be used for the construction of the new.
But not for the regular operating budget?
Right, so it gets, the funds get earmarked for the,
Center
Fire
fire station.
department.
For the,
for
Fire
the,
station.
for the fire
station, for the
station.
building only, but
Yes.
then they couldn't use it for general operating.
Right,
Right.
Okay, the same way as if a donation comes in, if, say this goes through, and somebody decides to make a substantial donation even after the fire department's almost done, then it would that money then go towards the loan? Or would it go for
Yeah.
go into their operating
As
fund?
far as we're concerned, any money that comes in after the town, after we get done dealing with the town,
Yep,
it'll go towards that
Well-
building fund.
the building fund, or the
Go
loan,
Towards the loan, yeah.
okay.
But if you guys would all give 40,000 each, we wouldn't have a problem.
don't think I could promise that much.
About 5 zeros, there you go.
Yeah, what you do with the check after I write it out, add some zeros, that's different.
But I would like to mention one more thing, Zeke, while we're on this subject. As far as fundraising, we've also are looking into an organization that does fundraising for, there's an outfit that did some, I think they're from Tennessee, but they do it for nothing, for fire departments and things of that nature. And Rich is contacting them and seeing what it's gonna cost us or how we work out. But they've done it up in Bellas Falls and raised quite a bit of money for the organization that they did it for. I'm not sure who it was, but, so we are trying anything we can come up with. And
Do you have any update on the 501c3?
well, last meeting, we discussed it, and it sounds like it's gonna be at least 3 or 4 months more.
And that, when we met last week with Marty Lee and you, Marty Fred, who's the trustee, he was leaning towards, was it 9 months is what he was thinking? To have that completed. So I think
It could
it's in the
be-
process, but.
It could be as much as 8 or 9 months.
Right.
We're hoping it's gonna be quicker
Quicker,
than that.
sure.
Only been going on it now for 4 years.
So just to be clear, next Wednesday, the church basement, 7:30 PM. We'll have a special town meeting, everyone is invited, and the question before the voters then, that night will be, will we decide the fire department's request for funding for the center station by Australian ballot?
Yes.
So it'll be yes or no, and it's not, do you want to fund the project or don't you want to fund, it's just, do you want to decide this by Australian ballot? And then if, when that vote is tallied that evening, our next meeting will be on July 6th, and then we would, I'm thinking, we'll warn a meeting, either another special town meeting, or we'll warn the Australian ballot. And if the Australian ballot is what the voters next week choose, then August 9th would be the state primary day, and that would be probably our highest turnout you'd be likely to get, and people could vote all day.
Right, yeah, or early.
Or dinosaur early, so.
But not often.
Right, yeah.
And if the Australian ballot is voted down, then we probably warn it for that, later that same week. And that would be within the time frame that we have to respond to the petition from the fire department. So stay tuned, but next Wednesday is the Australian ballot vote.
So, one other clarification, so, Joe, I understand what you said about it being cleaner if the fire department had their 501c3, but from the email from Bob Fisher, it seemed that it was indeed possible for people to make donations earmarked for this project to the town.
Right.
So that's possible.
Yes,
And we
so-
know what the process is, and so at any point that wants to be a method, do we need to vote on that, or can it just happen? How?
No, I think it can just happen.
Mhm.
That's my sense.
It's just when we turn the funds over to the fire department, it needs to be on a select board warrant.
Yes, yes.
Right.
So,
So, when I read this, I could go home tonight and write a check to the town of Dummerston, and down in the corner say, this is for the center station construction. And I can bring it in to the town clerk or the town treasurer, and they'll take it. And I'll get a tax deduction.
right, good. So let's just be clear on the language, you know, when either we move forward and encourage people to do that, or the fire department moves forward to encourage people to do that, that we have similar, consistent instructions for people.
Yeah, I was gonna say, if you people agree to all this, then we would like to be able to get the word out that they can do that. People
Right.
can do that, and the more money that comes in, the less we're gonna have to ask for.
Ask the town for, that's right, that was the whole idea. And,
I for one, am really glad that you've got a group you're working with on this, and I think we've all made it very clear, we'd like to help you, but, you know, there really needs to be an organized plan. You know, my hope would be that, you know, we're able to raise the entire amount, you know,
yeah, so feel free, Wayne, to include one of us in any effort with this person that Rich is contacting. I mean, I wrote an email to Rich that outlined one way to go about a capital campaign that came from Cindy Jerome, who has done a number of capital campaigns. You know, she's the executive director at Holton Home. And so they may propose something quite similar, but I've already offered myself as a support to that effort. So just saying.
nobody questions the need.
Good, so I'm glad we clarified that.
So I guess I'm just confused
Okay,
still.
yes.
It says in here, about transferring the fund of the to the volunteer fire department until after an affirmative vote. But then he goes on to say that if the vote were a negative vote, then the board would be in the position of returning the donation to the donors because the funds can't be used for a general fund. So now I'm a little bit confused.
Yeah, I think that's.
If somebody donates to the fire department and the town votes no, this sounded to me like we had to return the money to them.
See, okay, so we have next week's special town meeting, then whether it's by Australian ballot or another special town meeting in August. Okay, say the vote is not in favor of raising the funds by getting a loan or something. I would think we would still, they still need a fire station, and so instead of the town going and getting loans, it'd be people in town raising the funds privately. And the way they would do that would be writing a check to the town earmarked for the fire department.
Yeah, it seems like it's two different issues.
Right, I think when he wrote this, because that's when I brought up earlier, when he wrote this though, he's almost kind of making the thought that we're actually voting on whether to approve a fire station. We're not doing that, we're just voting to approve a loan.
Right.
I mean, I
That
think
they
that-
wouldn't go ahead and do it. If the
Right.
town didn't approve those funds, then the fire department would not do this project.
Right.
And that's
Right.
not the case.
That's right. So the station is, we're not voting to approve the station.
No.
The station's gonna be built, it's just a matter. So I think any money that comes in, I almost don't think this applies.
I
I don't
think
see us
that
returning any
it
money.
is the project,
Right, the project will go forward.
yeah.
I don't think any of us are gonna
Right.
say it's not, so I think the potential of us having to return the money is really non-existent. I mean, we're gonna
Exactly.
take the money in and give
Unless
it
they
to
said,
the fire department.
all right, we're not going to build
Project
the
is on
station.
it, which
Right,
is
unless
not.
they cancel the
Okay.
building, which,
Yeah,
yeah.
but as long as they're going to go through that,
Right.
then
Would you just get clarification on that?
Yeah.
It,
It wouldn't hurt.
it seems a little
Yeah.
up in the air
Yeah.
to me.
okay.
Would
all
you?
right, I will.
Okay.
Okay.
And I'm perfectly comfortable with it if that's the
I
situation.
will.
Yeah.
I
But the
will-
last thing I
will
wanna
leave
do is be
no
returning
ambiguity,
donations.
No ambiguity.
Like,
But I would say
No.
if someone came in tomorrow, even though we're waiting on that, I would say, don't turn them away.
Right, right, right.
yeah. Oh, yeah.
We'll take your check.
That's right.
Yes,
Get
okay.
it back.
So, looking good. I'll look into that.
Okay.
and
Just
I'll-
clarify that for
I'll
sure,
do that.
because
Yes,
we don't want egg on our face like
Yeah,
that.
he's back from Mount McKinley, did you all see that?
yes.
Terry, did your
Yeah.
questions get answered?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Good. Thank you.
So-
Your mind is at ease.
So
Yes.
stay tuned. And I'll let everyone know
I should have said Denali, right?
when
Yeah.
I hear back from Bob Fisher.
Good.
Okay.
Thank you.
Good, that'll be good. Let's see, moving on, unfinished business. Well, we had reopened bids for the clearing the lot on the north side of the Taft Cemetery. And we received several bids last meeting. Travis Bristol gave us, and this was for a turnkey operation, clearing, stumping, and turning it into a lawn. So Travis Bristol's bid was $6,800. A.S. Clark was $7,500. Grover Services was $8,100, and Chris Bell of Belco was $9,400. And the cemetery committee met to review these bids, and we have this cemetery committee chair and another cemetery committee member present.
Yes, for full disclosure, I am on the cemetery committee as well. So.
Yes. So,
We
do
met.
you want an envelope, and you can pass it to us and we can open it?
We met, went over the bids, and we're recommending the Travis Bristol bid, $6,800. We've got roughly $14,443 in the money market, and we'll take the 68. If you guys voted for it, take the 6,800 away. That'll leave us 7,600 roughly in the money market, plus the Putnam Fund, which that's got about 31,000 in, which we won't touch. So,
I, based on Terry's recommendation, and I did talk to Lee too,
Mhm.
and he was pretty comfortable with having Travis just do it, so I would move that we have Travis Bristol do the whole job.
I'll
I
second.
was, okay.
I'll second that.
Okay, any discussion? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
All right. Okay, so, you like to let Travis know?
Sure, I'll call Travis.
Okay, that sound all right?
Yep.
Okay, good. When do you think he'll get going? Do you,
We had it set up where the completion date, I believe, was June 14th or 15th.
Yeah, June 15th next summer.
So that way,
Okay.
yeah, next summer, so that way the leaves could fall, he could start over the winter,
Yeah.
cemetery be closed, and then put the grass seed on in the spring. So, sometime.
Okay, and but just thank all the cemetery committee members, they do quite a lot of work,
Yeah.
people. Okay,
Terry mostly.
yeah, well, yeah, I wasn't gonna say that,
Yeah.
but. So, we had our update on this next week's special town meeting. And Joe wanted to bring up, we discussed at our last meeting, the question of penalties for the late filing of HS 122s, and you wanted to have that on the agenda.
I did, thank you, Lori, for getting it on, and thank you, Charlotte, for all of your help. My first question, and I forwarded the email Charlotte sent to me last week to you, just, I think it was even today, but anyway. There are 49 residents who never, 45 Dummerston residents who did not file their homestead declarations in 2015, and 16, I guess, this past year. My first question for, is that right?
No.
60.
59 who never filed in 2015. There are currently 26 non-filed, or 62, I'm sorry.
Yeah, 62.
62, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. 62 non-filers. So my first question.
Liquor commission.
My first question.
Testing the product.
My first question of Charlotte was, how do we know they're how do we know they're residents? And what she said was what I thought, which is, it's a small town. We probably have a pretty good sense as to who actually does live here. What Charlotte explained is kind of two groups. It's one group that doesn't file income tax returns, and you probably all know that it's kind of a function of filing your income tax return. And if your income is below a certain level, you don't have to file. And if you don't file an income tax return, you may not even think of filing a homestead declaration. And of course, that affects your taxes and the amount that goes to the state for the educational fund. So the town has been sending letters, I guess annually, to everybody that does not file. Apparently those letters have not done much good, and they weren't able to do it this year because they're so busy. Lori volunteered, thanks very much, to send those out. I think it is important that we just put people on notice. It's one thing to put it in the views, it's another thing to send a letter to people that actually don't do it. But there's another group that I have less sympathy for, and those are the ones that have figured out that they actually pay less taxes if they do not file their homestead declarations. And it's pretty significant. The tax differential is, for residents, is 2.034. For non-residents, it's 1.7844. Works out to be about $250 on a $100,000 house, $750 on a $300,000 house. So we're talking some pretty significant money, and that money goes to both the town and to the state, for the state education fund. We do report that information to the state, but apparently they're kind of overwhelmed, with these things, and overwhelmed and understaffed. So they haven't really done a lot, by way of investigating. I guess they look into things like voting, driver's licenses and license plates and that sort of thing. But the state really hasn't. We send this information to the state, and they don't really do anything about it. And what occurred to me is that if we are going to do something about it, it really has to come from our legislators. They need to get somebody, full-time in the Vermont Department of Taxes to investigate this problem, because if it's a problem for the town of Dummerston, you can be sure it's a problem for a lot of other towns as well. So I guess I was thinking maybe what I would do is call one of our reps and say, can you try to get this on the agenda for next year? But, that is just my thought.
And what would be the best outcome, or what could be done that would change things?
Well, I guess the state could, actually penalize people. There
So the
are,
state could,
right, there,
instead of creating work here.
right, it would be up to the state to investigate residents that do not file their homestead declarations, and there are penalties for late filing.
Are there state penalties as well as, this is the way I understood it last week, which, when we voted, but, so is there state penalties on top of town penalties?
I guess maybe I missed both. I don't know the answer to that.
Yeah.
I
It would
think
be
so.
nice if the penalties came from the state and not the
Yeah,
towns.
right,
Yeah.
exactly.
So that it was uniform.
And I think that we were wise in not attaching a town penalty for late filers, because we want to encourage filing. I mean, that's the bottom line.
But, so how many have filed, and how many filed last year? That's what I would be curious of,
There were
what percentage actually came
Well,
in?
we're actually still getting people filing, and we will until,
You're getting record of people filing.
right.
I mean, they filed within the time frame they were supposed to. And you're just-
Probably not anymore, but up until, I think, last week, we were still getting timely filers. So the state is pretty far behind processing all this stuff. Maybe 2 weeks ago, but it was way after April 15th that we're still getting timely filers being reported down, being sent down in a report.
Seems like a system that's not really working.
I would agree. So I would kind of guess the people on your second half there probably have no intention of filing.
I think that's a good guess.
So
too.
yeah, that's why I would say, anyway, we voted last week the way we did, but you have a group of people that have no intention, at the detriment to the people who are gonna have to make up that tax burden.
Exactly, yes.
So I guess the solution is, like, where you wanna begin is, like, start with the state and see what they can do.
Right. So I made some other suggestions when I was here that I probably won't repeat on the television camera.
So I'm fine if Joe wants to.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think
Exactly.
we should get all towns to start making a noise.
But just out of curiosity, we put people who don't pay their taxes in the town report, right?
Right.
So people who haven't done this as of September 1st, why are they not in the town report? They're essentially not paying their taxes.
Well, that was my
That's it.
suggestion.
Well, that's my suggestion. I guess I brought that up. I said it up here, so, okay.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I mean, it seems to me that the state is feeling this is just not important enough. And is it because we get the money, the town gets the money, not the state?
No, apparently it's
Most of it
split.
goes to education.
Most of it goes to the
Yeah.
state?
Yes. Right, it would be to the state's advantage.
So if you're gonna talk to a legislator, I'd like to know that they understand the background of this and why it was imposed in the first place and understand its relative importance today as opposed to when it was created.
Right. Absolutely. And some towns it's different. Some towns I think the non-resident rate is actually higher than the resident rate.
I think most towns.
Most towns.
Most
yes.
towns, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, maybe we should try switching.
And the reason I've been told what the reason is,
That it would be different.
Why ours is lower.
why ours is lower.
So now can you only remember what that was?
Probably just after the meeting is over.
Was that
Is it
one
the-
for businesses, and I'm thinking of like Putney Paper and those kind of places.
I don't know.
Okay.
Is it because of the amount we pay, for our schools?
Well,
Yes,
that's what I'm
I'll
wondering.
look
Yeah.
I'll look into it. When I get off the phone with Bob Fisher, I'll
Okay.
look into it. Why?
Thanks for doing that.
Sure,
I was
yeah.
looking at-
Yeah, because maybe we're just going about this all wrong.
Yeah.
Although I can only think of businesses, what few businesses we have, would want to pay the lower rate or would be encouraged at the lower rate because a business wouldn't be sending kids to school. So I just wonder if that's the logic, but I don't know. Zeke will let us know shortly.
Well, and I don't think we determine the rates, doesn't the state
State does.
determines them, yeah.
Oh, so just our, I see, just our,
I think it may have something to do with the cost of our school,
yeah.
Yes, I think that's,
I think.
okay.
So the other possibility, Joe, while you're doing this is maybe, and I almost think I've seen something in the league's letter, but maybe the league would go to bat
That's
for
a good
us.
idea.
I don't know.
Let me try to, yeah, and then I was just thinking, which of our legislators, I know Mike, David, or one of our state senators,
Well, if you're doing it,
I'd go them all.
do them all,
Yeah.
yeah.
I'll look into the league and see if
Okay,
they have
sounds
anything,
good.
and I'll get back to you if they've already,
Okay.
Heard from other towns or have.
well, if they've had anything in the,
Mhm.
in their
Yeah,
letter.
they're all
news.
up for re-election this year, so they should be pretty receptive.
And I'll get back to you what I find in the league is.
Sounds good.
Okay,
Yeah, I will follow up.
great,
Thanks.
good, thank you, Joe. Okay, so we began to talk about job performance evaluations and forms and
Yeah.
any updates for us?
Well,
Our HR person on the board?
I was hoping that people were thinking about job descriptions and looking into those.
Yes.
I don't have a evaluation form to
Okay.
propose at this point in time. It would be helpful to, I guess I should probably, what our policy says is that annual evaluations happen based on date of hire. So maybe I'll ask Lori if you could give me the dates of hire for select board assistant, zoning administrator, and road foreman. If you could send me that information.
Sure.
And the last evaluation that's in people's personnel folders, just the date of it.
Okay,
That would be great, that would be handy.
So, of course, we reappoint the road foreman after town meeting, and the select board assistant we appoint after town meeting. So, is that their anniversary, or,
We appoint them,
yeah,
that's the date of hire.
well,
Wouldn't be Lee's date of hire probably, because if he wasn't road foreman, he might still be an employee.
so,
so do you want
And-
his date as for when he was
I was just
promoted
thinking we could
to?
kick this down the road a little further, if it was, March.
Yeah, maybe when he was, that might be a good place to start, when he was promoted to road foreman.
Okay,
Because prior to that, it would be irrelevant.
Okay, and,
Wayne would have been doing his performance review.
right, and our new zoning administrator just had her
Just-
1 month anniversary, so
Mhm.
we've got 2 months to come up with her 3-month
Yeah,
review.
okay. So I'll put that on the top of my list to have an evaluation form to,
Okay,
to
and the people you designated as the
point people.
point people will hound their charges for the job descriptions and
Mhm.
revisions or additions.
So let me ask you this, if you and I got a hold of Lee for his job description, would he just go to Lori to get it?
yeah.
Yes.
Shall
So
I
my-
email it to both of you?
So would it be better if we just had Lori get us the job descriptions and
Yeah, you could do that.
Yeah, but maybe she could review it with Lee and, see.
Well, how about we would
Yeah,
go
yeah,
over
we
it
do.
with Lee, right? If you email it to us, Laura, then we can meet with Lee.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
There's,
Yeah,
there's.
and then we'd have it, rather than going to Lee, Lee going to Lori,
Right.
and, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, and let me.
Just seems like it saves a step.
Yeah, it does. And let me just clarify something, because I think I remember how it was framed in the minutes, and it just made me want to clarify it, is that the point person, designating a point person for each of the 3 town employees, the purpose of that is to establish regular communication. It's not to establish regular oversight, it's really just to establish regular communication. So it's not it's not for the purpose of giving the employee feedback. It's in the interest of understanding more directly what their job is, how it happens over time. It's so that the select board, who is the body who is evaluating town employees, really understands what they're doing, in what environment, what the culture is here, so that we're evaluating people with direct experience, as opposed to from a distance with a little bit of a glimpse of what our town employees are doing. And so that person who is the point person then can help the whole select board understand what their job is and how things are going. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other discussion? Okay. Under new business, what color is the new business folder this week? Ah. Green. All right. We've got a request from Renaud Gravel to release $8,200 from the Gravel Pit Reclamation Fund.
I'd like to move that we do that, unless Lori has an objection that, or yeah, I'm
Our
sorry,
treasurer.
our treasurer has an objection to it. Okay.
Okay.
Do we wait till the 25th for that though? Isn't there doesn't the CD become, is it open now or does it we have to wait for that to mature?
I think you can do it on Friday.
Yeah.
So,
Yep.
on the 25th. Yeah.
And so this reclamation fund, for every yard of gravel that comes out of the pit, there's a, I don't know,
6 cents.
6 cent that the towns and Renaud.
That isn't this fund, is it?
Oh,
This
no,
fund
this
is
is-
what Severance put aside
Right.
for reclamation.
Okay.
That isn't
Okay.
the 6 cents. This
Right.
is different pit, different fund.
Okay, so when Severance sold the pit to Renaud, this
Right.
Windham.
went with it.
Yeah.
Okay, and so, and they're reclaiming that first pit, the Severance pit
Right.
now, and so they want some of the funds that have
The
been
north
set
end of it,
aside
they're
to-
starting to butter back, yeah.
Okay, so did someone,
I moved that we would do
Okay.
it and
And we-
after the 25th, is that?
We amend the motion to remove it after the 25th?
If that would be, yeah, so.
I think we have to, it renews,
Yeah, it rolls over on the 25th,
Yeah, so
so
we
we
have to
have
do
to
it
make
before.
sure
Before
they
the
know
vote.
what we want done with.
yeah, so I think within the next 2 days we have to do something.
Okay.
Okay,
So the motion is then to remove $8,200 from the reclamation fund in the next 2 days. For
okay.
Renard's.
Do I have the second for that?
I'll second that.
Okay. Okay, any more discussion? All right,
Yeah, there's 20,000 or something in the fund totally, right? Yeah.
So it matures on the 25th, as long as we're doing it where there's no penalty of taking it out, that's all I'm concerned with, right? Okay.
okay. All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, we'll do that. Okay, so there's been, let's see, information about workers' compensation for, non-town employees. So, people who contract to do lawn mowing or janitorial work, and I think our treasurer was going to fill us in on that.
Well, I'll give you a brief. VLCT has sent to all the towns this very long and complicated process
Oh, we've got plenty of time if you want.
of guaranteeing that workers that contract with the town have liability insurance, and they've decided that the hold harmless agreement that these people used to sign is no longer will no longer stand up in court. And so if you have somebody that is unable to submit all this information, then when they come for their audit every year, they can choose to sort of back, what's the word?
Make it retroactive.
Retroactive insurance payments so that the town ends up paying for them. I did talk to them today sort of to see if I could figure out sort of a ballpark figure. And I really couldn't get that information today. We have one person that costs $246 a year. We were charged that last year for services, and so we can assume that it will be at least that or probably more for these. Anybody big will carry their own liability insurance, but this is like the people who mow the lawn and stuff like that. So,
But are you talking liability insurance or workers' compensation?
well, we pay workers' comp if they don't carry the right amount of liability insurance for themselves, right? Mm-hmm.
It's the workers' comp. If they don't carry workers' comp, then that's what we're getting billed for. But VLCT also wants to see proof of liability insurance as well.
Okay. Well, isn't workers' comp for, when they get hurt, for instance, on the job?
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, independent contractors, that's their responsibility.
Well, it is to a certain extent, and the Vermont Department of Labor used to accept a hold harmless agreement that they would sign annually, but they've now come back to VLCT and said, no, this won't hold up.
Okay.
So that's why VLCT is coming to us.
There's a couple things. The liability insurance is totally separate, and just about everybody has that.
Yeah.
Workman's comp, like, I don't carry workman's comp on myself, because you basically can't.
Yeah.
But businesses now are billing, like if the town pays $200 and some, the businesses are now billing the business back. So if I was mowing the lawn and didn't have a workman's comp policy and the town got charged $300 to cover my workman's comp, then I don't know how towns are doing it, but a lot of businesses now are billing me the $300. And that's being done a lot.
Well, that's interesting because it would be less probably for us to do that than it would be for some of these smaller entities to go out and purchase workers' comp.
Yeah, it's a strange situation. Like I'm thinking an individual mowing lawns, it's almost hard for him to go buy workman's comp.
Exactly.
You have it for your employees, but you don't have it on yourself. It's really strange. But I know a lot of businesses now are getting whacked workman's comp from the state, and the only alternative they have is to go back to the person, and maybe we should be looking into that.
Yeah.
Right, so when we start accepting bids for the contract services that we have, then we should have this in mind and it'd be part of the discussion.
We should require workman's comp, and in some situations, they're gonna say they don't have to have it and they don't have it, then there needs to be a line in our bid form that says, then you are gonna be billed back, some of these guys are getting charged, like I know one builder got like a $20,000 workman's comp charge back on electricians and painters. So it's not good for small business at all. But it's not good for the town either. We shouldn't be paying it, the employer should.
So, okay.
Yeah, it's not good for the small guy. Means a big operation could come in and do your work for you more likely than some local person.
Yeah, workman's comp's getting tough.
Anything more you want to tell us about this? Okay.
How would we follow up if we wanted to, what would Charlotte do if we wanted to look into, would we go to the league to look into billing people back, or?
Is that in that packet? Anything about that?
No, not that I saw. They're supposedly coming down in the next couple of weeks to talk to the towns and give more information and hand out these packets, and then it would be a time that we could ask questions. So
maybe log that as a question.
yeah.
I don't think we should be paying the workman's comp. We should be getting
Right.
it out of the person, out of the contract. Okay.
I mean, it's too late to do it now.
Right, exactly,
Yeah,
but in the
yeah,
future,
but-
yes,
But
yeah.
for the contracts that come up.
Right.
Right, and we'll get more information when they come down, and you'll let us know in case any select board members want to attend and find out about that. Great. Okay, let's see. Oh, where are we? Okay, there's a financial management questionnaire from the town treasurers. And that came from, where'd that come from?
You did it. Where'd it, well, it came from me.
Yes.
Did it come from VLCT?
Yes.
Oh, okay. So everyone had a chance to see this, it just, I guess is, looking at financial management practices and, who's responsible, whether you do this or don't do this, and this gets filled out and sent back to the LCT.
So I'll move that we accept it and sign it.
I'll second that.
Okay, any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All right. The contract, is it, do we sign that, or is that just something you sign and send?
What, this,
There's a
received
place-
by
Yeah, you
select
sign
board,
it.
Okay.
you need to sign it.
All right, okay. So, it's June, so we've got our contract for, animal holding, with the Windham County Humane Society.
Prior to that, can I just thank Charlotte for printing us out the
Oh, yeah.
financials too?
You can thank Lori.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh, wait, yes, I skipped
She
over,
copied
skipped
it.
over treasurer's report.
I'm trying to keep you on
Right,
sequence
right,
here,
right.
but
Yeah.
thank you for doing
Very
that.
well
It's
done.
nice at
Okay.
the end of the year to,
Well, let's hold that, let's go ahead and finish this contract.
yeah.
And then
Well,
we'll
there's not much we can
jump
do with
back.
this other than review it ourselves anyway.
Well,
probably.
we can spend about 10 minutes and look like we're reading it, and
Good TV, huh?
it's good TV. So the contract, only change from last year is their fee for the year has gone up $66 to $466.
I'll move we accept the 2016-17 contract with the Windham County Humane Society for stray animal keeping.
I'll second that.
Okay, any discussion? Well, one of our animal control officers is here, Wayne Emery, who alphabetically speaking comes first in the phone book.
And he handles like
The late
after
night
11
calls,
o'clock at
yeah,
night, right?
Right, the late night calls.
Late night calls, skunks, and rabid cats.
And I want you to know that I had a call the other day, or the other night,
Yup.
and I told them, don't feed it, it'll go home. And the next morning it was gone. But it came back 2 days later. Then it went home again. It's gotta be a neighbor's dog, it's just, if you don't put any food out, they won't come back eventually.
Common sense.
Well,
is
you know,
one of
if you
them.
went to every call you get, and you picked them up and took them down to, we wouldn't have money enough to, in there, you know. We'd be running out of money quick.
That's why we need to thank Zeke, because a lot of them just go to his place and he takes care of them.
So, let's see. The one thing, and I would talk to them about this. They don't part of the contract is they won't release animals back to the owner until they've been licensed with the town, and they're not very consistent about that. And it's like with the HS 122, you don't have, once the dog is gone, you don't have much leverage to get them licensed, so I'll speak to them about that. But any other comments, discussions? Okay, all those in favor? Aye, opposed? All right, now back to our treasurer's report. Is there anything, Charlotte, that you'd like to call to our attention or we can just read.
Do you wanna look and if you have any questions?
Just
Uh,
if we
well,
were to close the year
this is
today,
sort of
this would
the-
be our surplus.
Something that you might do best taking home and reviewing and then letting you know if we have any questions.
You want me to call that to their attention?
Yeah.
Call something to our attention,
Okay.
Charlotte.
If we were to close,
On which page? Which
we're on the balance sheet,
balance sheet.
yes,
Is this
on
the
page
same-
1.
Got it.
If we were to close the account,
If we were to close.
close
Close the books.
the books.
Okay, good.
Today, the general fund would have $32,166.28
As a surplus.
as a surplus. And on page 2, the highway fund would have $19,035.77 as a surplus. So, it's good.
We're cutting it pretty close then, aren't we?
No,
Where's the highway
Got what,
fund?
2 more weeks?
On page 2.
but we don't, this is the last
This is it.
payroll,
Oh,
yeah.
Hmm.
So unless, I mean, we may ask you to have a special town meeting, and our special select board meeting next week before the town meeting, just in case more invoices come in so we can get them paid on this.
On this, yeah.
Okay, we've done that in the past.
Mhm.
Yeah,
But payrolls.
Payrolls are done.
yeah. All right, good. Okay, so we all have.
is there anything, Charlotte, that we really blew on budgeting, or we'll just look this over and see, but anything that really stuck out with you that we were way off on? Okay, all right,
I'd need to look at it.
yeah, okay, all right, thank you.
Okay.
Thanks for printing them out for us.
Yes. Okay. All right, all right, here's the favorite part of the show. Take it away.
Oh, I move that we recess as the select board and meet as the liquor control board.
I'll second that.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? No? Okay, what? Okay. So here we are, as the Liquor Control Board. We have a request from Hidden Acres Camping Resort for a second-class license. And, so, what would you like to do?
I'll move we accept their application for a second-class license.
I'll second.
All right.
Okay? Okay. Who would like to third this?
We'll fourth it, all right.
Okay.
There you go.
Okay, discussion? Right, so I called David Tyler today. Actually, I had a dog call down there anyway. So it's a little ambiguous what a second-class license would be for there. And so I was looking forward,
Did you get free creamy?
Steve, yeah, end of the day, Steve picked me up, we just go down 5 minutes, we have a couple brewskis and watch the game on the big screen. But that's not what they have. They are going to offer draft beer and cans to their guests.
To
And
people who are camping there.
camping there or are members of their,
The
The swimming
pool.
pool.
yes. So they can go, and the liquor control agent who came and reviewed their premises required them to have a fenced-in area, and that's where people can go to,
Have a wine.
yeah, or a beer while they're
Draft.
miniature golfing or relaxing by the pool. So I can't go down at the end of the day and just,
You have to be a member or a guest.
yes,
And
or
you have
or
to
play
be in that
miniature golf.
particular
That's
area.
not likely for me, I don't know about you. So they he let me know that so this is to get the ball rolling. Next year, they're going to apply for a first-class license. But they're not going to have a bar. This doesn't mean they're going to have a bar or something like that, so.
So very much he's following the plan that he described
Yeah.
the night
Yep.
he came in.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, with that, any other discussion?
No, thanks for looking into it though.
Yeah, well, I was looking forward, I was hoping.
I was ready to go.
Yeah. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Let's see.
I'm gonna move that we adjourn.
Wait, we have
Oh.
other business.
Oh, more liquor control
Other
board
bus-
stuff?
No, oh, right, we've got to adjourn.
Yeah.
All right.
Try to keep
I
up.
thought you were.
Because Joe and I wanna move this meeting along
I
tonight.
thought you were trying to turn.
I'm gonna
the
move
lights
the
out.
adjourn as a liquor control board and reconvene our select board meeting.
I'll second that.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. I'm trying to keep you on page.
Well,
We all
good,
sign.
I'm glad. Okay, well then, back to the select board business. Is there any other business that you'd like to discuss? Bring up? Okay. Well, then I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
I'll second that.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye,
Aye.
awesome.
Just
Joe, I tried to get you out of here.